Hey everybody, it's me again. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I'm here to do another book club video. My friend Janet did another book tag thing, and she did another open tagging of it because she's the only person I know who does these, and she's my only resource to do these. So I'm gonna do them. If you don't like them, don't watch them. But this one is called Rapid Fire Book Tag. It's 23 questions, and this time I have them written. I don't have them written. I have them just pulled up because last time I skipped one accidentally and didn't do one, and I didn't know what it meant, so I didn't go back and fix it. So, alright, so I'm going to try and get through these 23 questions as quickly as possible since we'll be rapid fire. Question 1. Ebook or physical book? Physical book. 2. Paperback or hardback? Paperback. 3. Online or in-store book shopping? In-store book shopping. And I'll give a quick reason why. Because I like being able to look in the book. I like being able to read the first page. I like being able to see how big the book is. You know, like thickness, size, all that stuff. 4. Trilogies or series. Now, when I was reading through the questions, this one was a sticking point. I don't like series. In my last one I talked about how I have a book that's a part of like a 16-book series or something like that. I'm not going to read them. Between those two, I definitely prefer trilogy. Beginning, middle, and end. Done. Heroes or villains? Most of the books I read are literary fiction, and they don't really have traditional heroes or villains. It's more gray than that. So I'll probably have to go with villains, since most people have a lot of negativity in them, and it's easier to relate to, I guess. Number 6. A book you want everyone to read. Tell you the truth, I don't know. I don't have a book that I want everyone to read. None that pops in my head. A book that I want everyone to read is a book that you enjoy. There you go. 7. Recommend an underrated book. I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm not going to have good answers for these questions so far. Underrated book. I don't know. I don't think I've read any underrated books. That sounded kind of douchey. I don't know. Read. I don't have a good answer for that. Number 8. Last book you finished. Last book that I finished reading was the Dark Forest by Cixin Liu, or Liu Cixin. I'm not sure which is the correct surname, given name. I think it's Cixin Liu, but I don't know. Last book I bought was the shitty book. I don't even remember what it's called. Harvesters something. I bought it from Joseph A. Beth, which is closed now. The one in Crestview Hills is closed now. One of only like 4 stores in the area. It's like an independent bookstore. I bought it. I liked it for about a third of it, and then I stopped reading it. 10. Weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark? Receipts, sticky notes, Nothing too weird. Probably just a receipt. I've used like business cards out of my my wallet before for bookmarks. 11. Used books, yes or no? Yes. I have a few hand-me-down books that I got from my old coworker from the library, that he got from another coworker from the library, who she was getting rid of a bunch of her old books, and now I have a couple. And I've got a couple hand-me-down books from a coworker at Barnes & Noble. So, yeah, I appreciate used books. Like the library, I'd consider those used books. Or, what is the place called? Half-priced books. I like places like that. Top 3 favorite genres. Literary fiction, sci-fi, fantasy. There you go. Are there any? I don't like YA. That's one. I don't like romance. Never really read a mystery. Literary fiction, sci-fi, fantasy. 13. Borrow or buy? Buy. And the only reason why is because I take a long time to read a book. There's no guarantee that if I borrow a book from somebody that I'm going to read it as soon as I get it. Because I'm really bad at that. So it's better for me to buy it and hold on to it for 15 years and then eventually read it then, you know. 14. Characters or plot? See, as a writer, I think both are equally important. You want to have good characters. I think, in the long run, I think good characters trump a plot. But I have read a couple books where I thought the plot was terrible, but I loved the characters, and it was a trudge. So it's got to be good. It's got to be, you know, both. You got to have a good balance of both. 15. Long or short books? I prefer short books because they're easier. They're quicker to read. I think I'm more of the mindset of trying to read it in as few instances as possible. Like one book, The Brothers Karamazov, I read in like 6 months. It's a pretty thick book. And then there's other books that are really, like, you know, some Kurt Vonnegut books I read in like 2 days. So, 16. Long or short chapters? I like short chapters. I like chapters that are to the point. Though, there was one, the last book I did read all the way through, The Dark Forest, he had a weird chapter structure. The chapters were really long, but they had a lot of breaks in the middle of them. So there was like short bits between like different characters' perspectives and stuff, which I didn't really like that much. I like chapters, the normal, you know, like chapter 1, 10 pages, chapter 2. And this one, it was like, I don't even know, like 50, maybe 100 pages was chapter 1. And it was just broken up weird. So I didn't really appreciate that too much. It took me a long time to get into it because of that. 17. Name the first 3 books you can think of. Frankenstein, Jurassic Park, and Crime Punishment. Even though I know I already said a bunch of other ones, Jurassic Park kept popping in my head this whole time. 18. Books that make you laugh or cry. There's been a couple books that have made me laugh. I can't name them off the top of my head. Though cry is more something I can think of. Not necessarily cry made me feel emotional. The Idiot, that book made me really made me feel emotional, especially the ending. The House of Mirth made me feel emotional at the ending. What was that other one? How come I can't think of it? Demons by Dostoevsky. That also made me feel really emotional. I actually read House of Mirth and Demons back to back, and they both have really sad endings, and they made me pretty depressed after reading both of those. So I don't recommend reading those 2 books back to back. I don't recommend reading Dostoevsky, you know, back to back to back anyway. Most of his stuff is pretty depressing, so I don't recommend that. But just to clear this up, House of Mirth is not written by Dostoevsky. It's written by Edith Wharton, just in case there's some confusion. 19. Our world or fictional worlds? See, I like stuff that's written. I like literary fiction a lot, which is mostly set in the real world. stuff like Murakami is set in the real world, but it's got a lot of surrealist stuff. So it's like got real cities and real towns and, you know, like contemporary music and contemporary technology and things, but like characters will talk to cats, or characters will shit will fall from the sky, or people will have weird dreams and, you know, stuff like that. Or they'll get sent to a parallel universe, 1984, you know. I think I like those more than fictional worlds, because as I said, like in my last one, I don't really dig fictional, or I don't really dig a lot of high fantasy writing. I don't know. 20 audiobooks, yes or no? Yes. And the reason I say yes is because not everyone has the time to sit and read. At my last job, when I worked at an office, I sat at a desk for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I had a computer and I had internet access, and I could listen to audiobooks. I listened to a lot of Michael Crichton. I listen to a lot of podcasts, stuff like that. I know it's not related, but, you know, audiobooks, good. I like them. 21. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? All of the time. All the time. I don't say it always, you know, I don't always reject the book based off its cover anymore. When I was younger, I feel like I did that a lot more. Now it's kind of like, and then I'll read the dust cover, or, you know, if it's a paperback, I'll read the back to get a feel for what it is. But I don't know, some styles of book covers just aren't my thing, like old sci-fi covers, or like contemporary literary fiction. Some of it looks nice, but it doesn't really make sense. Like, there was an article I read and a video I watched about horror novels and how their covers don't really allude to the fact that they are horror novels by looking at them. And, you know, sometimes the cover, you want it to kind of give you an idea of what you're about to read. 22. Book to movie or book TV adaptations. If you'd asked me this like 20 years ago, I probably would have said book to movie, because that was more prevalent. But now, with things like HBO and these like extended series and stuff, I think book to TV makes more sense, considering books are long form, and TV series is, you know, depending on however many episodes it has, it can be a long time. You know, instead of like a 2-hour movie, you can have a 10-hour series, which is like a 10-hour movie, and you could break it up or whatever. So I think book to TV makes more sense if you're translating from like a series of novels, or like a big book. You know, but some books, you know, could be made into a movie or a couple of movies, like The Lord of the Rings. They had to condense a lot of stuff. Would it be better if it was a TV series like Game of Thrones? Maybe, but it wasn't bad. 23. A movie or TV show you preferred to its book. I didn't like the book Mortal Engines. I only liked the movie slightly more, mostly because I didn't have I don't know, that's a bad example, because they're both pretty bad. I'm trying to think of the ones. Jurassic Park is kind of like 50-50 for me, because I love the movie, but the book is different enough that it feels like a different experience, so I like them both equally. Golden Compass, I like the book more than the film. I think most people would say that. Frankenstein, it doesn't really translate well. I think that I prefer the book for that. Harry Potter, I don't know. I only read a couple of those, and I like them both from, at the same time. So I don't know. I think for the most part, though, if I had to say book or movie, I would definitely say book. Though, when it comes to Lord of the Rings, I prefer the movies. I think it's because I grew up watching the movies as a kid, and I didn't grow up reading the books. I started reading the books in my 20s, so I don't know. But I try to do this as quickly as possible, and this video is going to be about half the length of a normal one. So that was the rapid fire book tag video. If you like these types of videos that I've been doing recently, where I'm just, piggybacking off of my friend Janet, I'll do more. If you want me to go back to the old book club stuff, that might actually give me a reason to read. I could always talk about the Earth's Remembrance trilogy. I think that's what it's called. That's the Three Body Problem, Dark Forest, and Death's End, which I haven't started yet. I could talk about those. I might do a quick book club on those, since I read 2 of the 3 already, and that would give me a reason to read the 3rd one. But anyway, I'll tag. Well, I don't know who to tag. I think I tagged Chad last time. I don't know if he did it. He probably didn't, because he's more of like a nature thing. If someone who watches these wants to do it, I'll put the questions and stuff in the bottom. I'll tag Janet's stuff too, like her channel. And I also do, I have a blog where I do horror rating, so I'll tag that too. But anyway, that's the end of this one. Hopefully I'll be reading more. I doubt it this summer, but who knows?